Good to go.
Perfect. Thank you, Jade. Good morning, everyone. This is the Mayor Manager's meeting for Wednesday, January 19th. In the room with me is City Manager Shawn Lewis, City Attorney Tamara Niles, Assistant City Clerk Jade Truscott Reed, and Mayor Pro Tem Steve Ward. And Shawn, I'll pass it over to you.
Great, thanks, Mayor. We will start with the January 24th meeting. Krista asked me this morning if you all had decided last week during Mayor Manager or since then to convert this to a special meeting. Othoniel, I think maybe Tim sent you an email on that.
Did he? I'll have to take a look. I don't remember seeing anything.
I currently have it
Yes, you did. I'm
displayed.
looking now. All right.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
I think it was because remember, yeah, there it is. Remember Woodward is traveling.
Okay, I misunderstood the question. Yes, I am fine with that. I thought I replied, but
No worries. So if that's all right with you, then this will be considered a special session. And then Jade, can you toggle back to, we're looking at an email. Okay,
Yep.
Thanks. So the first item is review of council policy manual that Tamara will take you all through. Use of city right-of-way by third parties. Veterans reserving parking spaces for veterans. Consideration of outreach and communication plan for organized garbage and recycling initiative. And then we'll add the, if this is a special session, we can add the council travel to this one as well.
all right. Okay.
So let's see, we've got time frames. Yes. On all, except for we need discussion time on outreach and communication for organized garbage.
So this is only communication, the communication plan. I would say 15 minutes.
Okay.
Steve, do you agree? Or Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think there's some danger of scope creep in this particular discussion, but 15 minutes sounds reasonable.
All right.
Wonderful.
Excuse me. On February 7th, we have Code Next update, and just to update council on all of the steering committee work. And we are going to have some steering committee members, I think, helping present on that. Acceptance of land dedication from CDOT on the south side of 285. The EDDA is going to be, their budget will come before you. And then approval of ARPA funding list. And let's just pause there. What we have study session items listed. Okay, great. And you all go ahead.
I guess just the budget for the EDDA, is that kind of like tentative based on what we hear from the county?
Well, we anticipate hearing from the county by the end of the month. I talked to Michelle Halstead yesterday about that, so they still think that they can have information to us. Yeah, by then.
I would still think that we would need to push that back to the 21st, because I know the rev share portion, I think that study session should occur prior to the EDDA budget discussion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, doesn't their memo suggest a date specific?
Right.
February 14 is the date they requested.
Jake, can you scroll down and show us February 14th right quick?
Yes, one moment. These are the current items.
All right. Okay, so it definitely looks like we could add it to that. I wanted to confirm with you. I know that we sent that request to council, but are you all saying that you're fine with the February 14th date?
I have some concern with having the tax sharing discussion the same night as we have the budget approval discussion. I think the tax sharing question is going to be something that some members of council are going to need some time to noodle on. So if we're making those decisions in the same night or making them back to back, there's some risk there. So ideally, in my perfect world, we would have the tax sharing discussion the week before we have the budget discussion.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
I think that's the plan though, isn't it, Shawn? Having the discussion on the 14th and the budget on the 22nd.
Yeah, I think that would work. Is that all right with you, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, that's fine by me.
And Tamara, we're not under a time crunch to get that EDDA budget approved, are we?
No. Ideally, they would be under the same budget approval cycle that we are, but because their finances have been in such flux, it hasn't been a possibility. One thing that we may be more on a time crunch on, though, is the approval of that loan agreement. Because without, with the timing of TIF funding still unknown, they may need a loan for operations sooner rather than later.
I agree. Yeah, and just Mayor, I assume since you're on the council rep on the EDDA board, you know this, but they're actually having pretty serious discussions, Mayor Pro Tem, about just having to go dormant because there's no money. Yeah, so do you have a suggestion on that, Tamara, time-wise?
As far as the loan agreement, we revised it to reflect that if council so chooses, it can make additional loans other than 150,000 in 2021 and 2022, just to respond to the potential that TIF funds don't come in 2022. And so EDDA board is approving it this month. And so it could go to council anytime after the EDDA board approves it. So early February.
Okay.
I think I'm comfortable personally, and this may be more policy heavy than this discussion bears, but loading the money for operations prior to approval of their budget, just to keep them from, able to operate, or some smaller amount. I don't think those are necessarily connected.
And I agree. And without the approved loan, they probably will have some difficulty even creating their budget.
Yeah, I mean, it's all up in the air until we hear back from the county, but I agree that the loan would be at least a stopgap measure that possibly we could, wouldn't be needed after all, if depending on the timing of the county. So council members, are you fine with maybe doing that on February 7th? Well, that may not be time for EDDA to get it done. Maybe February 14th?
And make that a special session.
Oh, that's right. Othoniel, when do they meet, EDDA board?
26th
of January?
Yeah.
So that's when I wonder if that's when well, if that's the case, we could do the loan agreement on February 7th.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be enough time.
Oh, sorry. Has it been there the whole time, Jade? I didn't realize it was on there. Okay, well then I think that's good.
All right, so I just want to confirm we're okay with the first reading on February 7th, and then, oh gosh, where'd that other thing go?
Is anybody else getting feedback?
Yep.
No.
Coming for feedback from Jade and Tamara.
I was hearing the feedback, and I hear, it went away and then it came back. I'm so sorry. So we have the approval of the EDDA on February 7th, and then I just want to confirm, would we need to move up? Where did it go?
I think we were moving budget to the 14th, sharing agreement to the 22nd. Is that right?
No, sharing agreement on the 14th, budget on the 22nd.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay. Sharing agreement on the 14th
Mm-hmm.
and budget on the 22nd.
Yes.
And loan stays on the 7th.
And then okay. I will get that worked out.
Okay. Thank you. Can you put me on the line that we're on?
Yes, we hadn't gone through all of February 7th yet, correct?
All right.
Yep, we were over at Pirates Cove. Yep.
All right. So Pirates Cove, some improvements there, and that is a motion. We have a motion for award of contract to Hazen and Sawyer for engineering services on Old Hamden. Motion for modifications to the strategic plan. This will be a pretty substantial one in response to the council retreat work that we'll do, or partly. And then we have parking garage lighting replacement. This is has been an ongoing safety concern for staff. The library has, notwithstanding more recently, but it's a lot of upgrades to the electrical needed to light up that garage better. And then library carpet replacement, motion for that. Then approving a bill or an ordinance of South Metro Enterprise Zone Administrative Grant. So this is going to be the money that we'll get from OED, OEDIT from the state for Enterprise Zone. Approval of a loan agreement between the city and the EDDA. Be February 7th. Then first reading of planned unit development at 3690 South Jason. And that's it. Any questions on these? We do have some consent questions. Can we put the library carpet replacement on consent?
I would say yes.
And then parking garage lighting, it's not exactly typical, but.
That one I actually have questions about, so I would say no on that one, but Mayor Pro Tem, do you?
I think that would fail on consent.
And so that will be, of course, from E funds, I believe, on that. But we'll keep that on regular. Is that the only question, Jade? Slide.
No, the award with Hazen, would you prefer for that one to not be on consent due to the dollar
Yeah.
amount?
Exactly.
Okay. And then for Pirates Cove?
These are just maintenance improvements on this. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah,
I don't object to having that on consent. I think we have
Yeah,
a
neither
50-50 chance.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay. And then I believe that is everything. I also have in the queue, I received it yesterday, either yesterday or this morning, I received two. But on this meeting, there will also be a authorize of annual highway user tax funds, or HUFT. And that'll be, would you prefer for that to be on consent or no?
We do that every year.
I would say yes.
Okay, perfect. I will get that in there, and then we'll also have it for review for next meeting as well.
All right, let's jump down to the 14th. So first item there is emergency management program overview. Michael Durkin will be taking us through that. Interesting, Jade, that Aaron Davis staff contact on that. Review of modifications to the City of Inglewood strategic plan. So this is actually where we bring back. So actually, I misspoke. At the previous meeting, you're going to be just doing your normal quarterly update. This one is, I think, in response to the council retreat work, where you'll look at right before you adopt some pretty substantial changes to the strategic plan. We will have an update on the Arapahoe County Jail acceptance criteria that Sam and Vance will take us through. 2022 proclamations. So as you know, as part of your proclamation policy, at the beginning of the year, you all consider proclamations that will just be, added, can be added to the agenda without kind of that week before review. And so this will be a discussion of those items. Resolution to provide staff with market adjustments.
That'll be the 22nd.
Thank you. Okay, any questions on the February 14th?
Not for me.
Most of our times, we can populate those times at the next mayor manager, if that's all right.
Sounds good.
And then February 22nd, a resolution to provide staff with market adjustments. So this is, you may remember you added $200,000 to the budget for market adjustments. So this will be the resolution to actually make that happen. Or to utilize that funding that was set aside for that. Public hearing, plan unit development at 3601. And then motion for utility sanitary sewer CCTV inspections. Acceptance of a DOLA grant for housing assessment. So we did get the grant from DOLA to look at how we can promote affordable housing in the community. That's $160,000. And that's it. Questions? All right, moving on to February 28th, we have the preliminary December monthly financial report, presentation on city payment of use tax.
This is still just a placeholder for that.
Great.
So it may be moved.
Okay. And then study session on the January 22nd, 2022 monthly financial report. It's funny we're having those same day. And then moving on to March 7th, if there are no questions. We have an Inglewood Trolley update, future planning discussion, festival permits, and actually I'm not familiar with that one. Tamara, that must be yours.
Yeah, so there's a new Colorado law that allows festival permits. It's a state permit with a local option to also issue the permit. Or to instead issue the permit instead of the state. So it's a discussion of whether city council would like to establish our local festival permit so that we know there's a festival going on in our community.
Okay.
And also if we issue a local permit, then it would allow issuance on city property where alcohol could be consumed if a permit is issued.
Oh, great. All right, also on March 7th, Walk and Wheel Plan. This is the public hearing for the update to that plan. And then public hearing for a PUD at 3600 South Galapago. CB04, authorizing agreements necessary to complete city ditch relocation project. And then we'll also have the WIFIA loan agreement for sewer fund. I believe you've already approved this. Oh no, there's the water one right after it. Those are for 21 million and 38 million respectively. And then first reading of PUD at 3601 South Huron. All right, March 14th, tracking of legislation and weighing in on state Colorado liquor laws specifically. And I think probably attorney's office and our office will be bringing that forward. Informational update regarding Inglewood Downtown Development Authority, tax increment revenues and possible sharing agreements. Okay, so this is the one that we're moving up. So Jade, you have that one.
Okay.
Resolution approving walk and wheel plan update. Approval of updated City of Inglewood strategic plan. Then we have first reading PUD 3600 South Galapago. And that's it on that meeting. March 28th, we have a monthly financial report for February. The discussion on the reserve policy that Mayor Pro Tem Ward requested. And then monthly financial report on April 25th and estimated assessment penalty from the tax group. Is that it?
And I met with finance yesterday, and they are going to expand that presentation to include business licensing, sales tax auditing, and compliance issues.
Great. This is the fee that's like practically nothing, and people actually tell us we'd rather pay the fee than pay it on time.
Yes, well, we talked about it specifically yesterday in our meeting, and there are some businesses that choose to have the city just calculate what they owe and pay the fee. So it's not high enough to promote compliance.
Yeah. And then we have on May 2nd, we're going to recognize our Elevate Inglewood graduates. We had our first session 2 weeks ago, have our next one tomorrow night. That's going well. And then recognition for Inglewood Police Citizens Academy. Oh, same night. All right. Theirs goes faster than, than the Elevate Inglewood. And then the May 23rd, we have study session, monthly financial report, then board and commission interviews on June 13th. And I think that's it. Any questions or comments?
Not for me.
Anything we're missing on the agenda?
This morning, I just added an item to consider a housekeeping item to clean up our statutory references in our marijuana code. But I did that about 4 o'clock this morning, so it's not on here yet.
Little insomnia there.
I woke up at 3 thinking about everything I needed to do today, so I just got out of bed.
All right, I think that's all staff has. We didn't have any council requests from last night that I took.
I didn't take any down. Anything from you, Mayor Pro Tem?
No, I see everything I've requested at some point on the agenda, so thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Perfect. All right. Well, that now concludes the mayor manager's meeting for January 19th. Everyone have a great day.
You too.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.